Hey everybody, I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net. How's it going? How's it going, Rob? The Blue World Order. How's the Blue World Order doing? Yeah.
No one saw the film, Jason. It's a bummer. Just me. Just me.
Mhm.
3 times. Took my wife. Packed theater every fucking time. Sadly, double, triple masked. Like I'm like putting more or less like Matryoshka dolls. Like is it you know those Russian dolls? Like it's just mass
Yeah.
on mass on mass. I just eventually you get to my face, but it's just
Right.
yeah. That's going all right. It's going all right. It's going all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Did you know that people don't know that when it comes to condoms, you should never wear two? When you wear two, the rubbers rub against each other and then they break. It's true. It's true. So you can't double bag it, you guys, but you can double mask it.
Also doesn't
Yeah.
protect you from herpes, despite what they say. Like, I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
from personal experience, but I had a buddy who was like, I can't believe it. I'm like, well, juices are flying, bro. Like, welcome to the show.
I'm
It's a family
happy.
show.
I'm happy to confirm I've gone 43 years, no herpes. But 3 years, got the Rona. Got the Rona. That's where I've been. I planned on doing shows all during the Christmas, like lead up to this and everything like that. And today I woke up, I
I
felt
knew.
great. I felt great. I wrote this article, did everything, and then I was like, yeah, and then the headache came back. But I'm not having any of that respiratory jazz, like where you can't breathe and stuff. Like it's not like bad. It just I keep getting these like headaches and fogginess, and that's what's
Like,
keeping me
I
down.
knew when James was coughing on the show the other day that you were going to get it. Like, I just knew it. You know, I told him, stop. Why are you doing that? Mask up.
James. No.
Right on the
It's
show.
not,
Just gave it to you
it's
live.
not James. Wait, James Washington? James Washington? Or no, it wasn't. Hey, James Washington. James Washington is innocent.
No,
hey,
Jazzy James, DJ
Yeah.
Jazzy James, our resident.
I feel like I'm in Labyrinth right now. I'm like, and you're there, you know, Labyrinth, the end with Wizard of Oz, the Wizard of Oz ending. Oh, Scarif After Dark is there, you know, RF Gaming Channel is there. Should you need us? Kind of thing. But
Nita.
yeah.
They
But
didn't know how
boy,
to end the movie.
if you guys thought, yeah, they didn't.
They didn't.
I love it.
Did which came out first, Labyrinth or Muppet Family Christmas?
I think
Muppet Family Christmas was 87. So when was Labyrinth? Was that the same year?
Yeah, it's about the same year. I feel like Labyrinth came out first, but I might have just seen Labyrinth first.
Someone at Lucasfilm was like, or Henson Labs or whatever, was like just wheeling all the puppets at the end. Like that was the thing they were doing. We'll end it with all the puppets. Everyone will forget. You know, I mean, I love Muppet Family Christmas, but Labyrinth is, you know, it's hit or miss. It does have a puppet peeing, which I remember being the talk of the town with my uncles. My nerd uncles loved that dude was peeing in a stream. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was that movie as like a little kid. That's where I was like, you can do whatever you want, and it's funny. Like I loved it. But I took my daughter to see it last, I don't know, maybe September or something like that, in the theater, and it was good. And it was good. But once you get to that third act, you do realize it loses steam and it doesn't know what to do, and it kind of like, I think they weren't confident the end battle was going to work, and then they didn't want it to be too down. But yeah, the end of that third act, it doesn't really work in that movie, and I couldn't really see it until I saw it again in a theater. And it was like a new experience because I've watched it on VHS for years and then finally like DVD and stuff. But
yeah, I really have a problem. Like even as a kid, I mean, no one brought up the term third act until high school. I didn't hear that term, right? Like as a kid, but they would say the ending got slow or the middle was. They would say things like that, right?
Yeah.
And so my mark as a kid was, did I want to watch it again? Will I watch it again? Yeah, I'll watch it again. You know, like I never wanted to watch Ghostbusters 2 after the first time. It's like I'm good. But
I don't know what you're talking about right now. Right? You sound crazy. Vigo the fucking Carpathian friend.
It's not good. It's not good.
Oh, it is good. Oh, it's good.
It's not.
Oh, that Bobby Brown song alone makes it worth.
But you ever watched the music video for that? By the way,
like 1,000 times.
There's a scene with Donald Trump wheels in, and then they cut to Christopher Reeve, and I'm like, "Ooh, that's a clear Luther Superman like bit." Like it, really is. Like it had to be. Like, yeah.
Yeah, he does kind of ruin the music video and Home Alone 2 as well. Well, Home
Oh,
Alone,
and the whole Bobby Brown thing, like,
but Home Alone 2, not as good as Ghostbusters 2. And I stand by that.
a lot
But
of comedic sequels aren't very good. Let's just be honest. You know, like it's very difficult. What you're stuck in a place of making a different film or making a repeat. I almost think with comedic sequels, they should almost go like the Aliens route. Just make a totally different genre of a film featuring these characters versus even attempting.
Gremlins 2, who took it from more of the horror place into the comedic.
That film would be hated if it came out today.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
If Gremlins 2 had never come out, they're like, we're finally making Gremlins 2, directed by Ryan Johansson. That fucking this subversive bullshit. Gremlins was a serious horror film, and they're not my Gremlins. You know, like you could just, they'd hate it.
Rob, if Ryan makes Gizmo woke, I'm out.
Now, my biggest problem with Ghostbusters 2 stems from the fact that Dana should have been the next Ghostbuster, kind of like the responsible one running that fucking place. That idea that it's like Jewel of the Nile. You watch Romancing the Stone, and then the next movie they broke up, they had to get back together again. I don't want to see that movie. We already saw them, and then they made Louis Tully the new Ghostbuster, and Janine. Like, no, I don't vibe with any of that bullshit.
Is it weird?
One part I like
to Dana when she's possessed.
I think what they should have done is her and Peter should have been together, but Peter should have quit the Ghostbusters. That I could get. Like she's with them, but he's off doing like he went off. There's more money to be made shilling Ghostbuster shit than actually being one, because then you have to get up and go to work. You know, him being on like a coast to coast show, you know, shilling conspiracy theories and UFO. It's that is a great bit that needed to be capitalized on way more.
Yeah, Gremlins 2 was hated, but not by this guy. I had the keychain. I bought the keychain of the smart one. All right.
Yeah, so but people didn't start a campaign around Gremlins 2, Jason.
No,
they just moved on. Like
we had little dumb lives. We didn't have to make it. Back then, we understood that liking something wasn't a personality. That's the whole thing.
I know, like they go, social media makes everything worse, and that depends on what mood you're in, right? But like, I think of like Predator 2, not a great film, but if you're like a 13-year-old kid with a VHS tape, you're going like, this is actually pretty fun. You know what I mean? Let's watch Predator 2. Like, and I think that still holds up. And that movie comes out today, fucking internet, like table flips, you know? Like, so they overreact to this stuff. I mean, everyone knows that, but.
So RF says Rob saw Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Actually, I liked it.
Yeah. I was down for the count, but while I was down for the count, Bespin told me that the director left.
Yeah, I also didn't like the gratuitous Walmart bit in the film. Like, I was like, there's so much other shit you could have done that was. I just wished that film was like the pilot, and then we got like a season of them like road tripping, or I don't know, going to different places, and then you get the movie in New York. I don't know, like it's just like it felt like. Given like Stranger Things season 4 is like 8 hours long, Ghostbusters Afterlife, it's a lot of time to wait for that, but it looked great, and I liked the cast. I enjoyed it. It was super.
Yeah,
super fun. I didn't the Dana Barrett close though at the end. That I was like, come on, you just happen to have that shit.
I like Red Letter Media. I don't agree with their Star Wars like takes. I think they're funny, but I don't really I find them entertaining, but I don't really agree with it. But their analysis of Ghostbusters Afterlife, though, I think it's dead on that one. But I do like the first 2 acts of that film until you get to the third part where it's just like, remember Ghostbusters 1. It didn't need it.
But Jason, we're gonna get to the Star Wars news in a second, but like
someday.
I do think we gotta I'm not saying be less critical. But it is like the idea that every time you see something, it needs to be the greatest thing you've ever seen is not a healthy place to be in. Like every Calvin and Hobbes strip wasn't the greatest Calvin and Hobbes strip when it came out every fucking day in the newspaper for 10 years, like overall though, pretty fucking great. Right. So like, I'm just like most things, if you get around B-, B, I figure that's a giant win. You
Mhm.
know, like because it is so hard to make anything that. I mean, look, I can't even gain. Most of the people on the show hate listening to me. They're here, so like
Mhm. Yeah.
they're listening for 2 hours. So like anytime you make something, like I just feel like it's a little bit of appreciative. Now, when they make things, and I feel like they're thumbing. How do I say this? What's a good example of this? Like when they're like, "Hey, we can spend all the money we want in a Fast and the Furious movie and don't even have to try. We don't have to do a heist anymore. It's just people doing shit." And you're like, "All right, man." Like
Mhm.
then I just walk out. I don't go, "Oh, the movie didn't do the third, fourth act." Who fucking knows? Because
But
it's so
then
subjective.
but then they go to space and they get you right back in,
No,
right?
I'm out.
No,
I'm out on
okay.
that one. I know.
Okay.
I even.
I've actually
I
never
know.
seen one. Bestman and Nick, I think Nick love them. And so therefore I love them by proxy, but not as a member of my family. As a member, that's my friends'
I
babies.
would
They love them.
I would say this, given that it's different teams, like directors making these films, like every few
Okay.
movies, I wish they would go with like a totally different type of director for one of them. You know, like get your Alphonse Cuarón Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
You know, just something. Hey, man, give it a shot. Like, because if you know if they're showing up for this shit, they'll show up for anything. So just try something a little different. You know,
Yeah.
just try something. It's like 12 movies in. Give it a shot.
Brett, thank you for the super chat. Brett sent a 4.99 super chat. Oh,
Oh,
everybody
thank you.
like the video, subscribe to the channel. You can follow the
Yeah,
show on any
yeah,
podcast platform for the most part, the big ones, anyways.
maybe.
If there's one that we're not on that you want it on, tell me and I'll try to get it on there. I just don't know.
OnlyFans. Uh,
Only thing you want, yeah, we want Rob laying in a pile of comic books. I could get that for you for 4.99.
Paul's like, he runs out and
Paul's
grabs a
like,
stash.
yeah. He's all that's a comic binge I could get behind, if you know what I mean.
Wasn't the ball pit the greatest thing when you're a kid, and now it's the most disgusting thing you could think of jumping into, right?
When I was 15, I ditched high school with this girl from school. We went to the mall, made a bad choice. The mall cops started chasing us around the mall. And then like they were like gonna call the truant officers and everything. And we went into a Burger King and got lunch. We're eating there. Then they see us in there. We had nowhere to go. We were cornered. We went into the ball pit and we just laid down in the ball pit.
Smells
And
like dirty socks down there.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not
Oh
good.
yeah. I was in the ball pit for about 2 hours until it was time for school to be out. Then I was like, free at last.
I was more of an Astro Jump kid, to be honest. But I did like what I liked about a ball pit, especially the ones they had like at Six Flags. If you ever went to those back in the 80s, at this giant, like in the 80s at Six Flags and Magic Mountain, they had like this whole look. I'm a kid, it was probably smaller than I remember, but it was like a whole like street worth of ball pits that were interconnected,
Yeah.
right? They were eating up space. I just remember how tired you could get trying to navigate one. Like I liked how much fatigue. I didn't have the term fatigue when I'm fucking 5, but I knew I got
Yeah.
tired. This is weird. Why do I get so tired? Like I could run around for days, but in a ball pit, it just knocks the shit out of you. I don't know, like whatever. Only Thrawns. That's what we need to be on.
Hey,
Only
you know
Thrawns.
what? I have a theory that if we all were hanging out in the ball pit, we wouldn't have this virus today. We'd be so resilient. Okay, that's wrong. So the question that Brett asked, Super Chatter, Skeletor lover, asked, is there any indication that Moff Gideon and his stuff is connected to Thrawn? It feels weird to have two unconnected overarching villains. So up front, the first part is there I have seen no connection between Thrawn and Gideon. I think what's important to remember, if what I'm hearing is 100% accurate, I believe it's accurate, but what I'm hearing is that Thrawn is in a new place that we've never been before. This new place with this guy named Balon and his like little Sith-like apprentice, Shin, and they're out there and they got these new stormtroopers and all that shit, and they're like a whole different thing that's been set up in this. It's been over 5 years. It's been quite a while that they've been out there, and then we have Gideon who's like in the core, and the guys, the stormtroopers, or I should say the Imperials, like in the core areas or in the known Star Wars universe, they're like warlords now. That's what Mandalorian originally set up. Is that it? Gideon is essentially a warlord. So they're coming in, they're raiding places, taking whatever they want, and just being powerful little assholes, basically. So these things don't appear to be connected. But remember that Mandalorian is going to eventually set up the First Order. That's one of the things that they teased a long time ago. So with that in mind, I would have to think that Thrawn may even be what brings these things together, if you think about it. Like, he's going to come in and he's going to pose a big threat. They're obviously going to defeat him. We know Thrawn isn't leading the First Order later on. We know that we don't see Thrawn anywhere after that. So we assume something happens to Thrawn. And so there's a chance that when he comes in, does this attack, they end up winning. That's what makes the New Republic go like, we don't want any more war, because that's the other thing that needs to be taken into account. But it's a weird thing to take into account, is that the Star Wars galaxy is fatigued with war, to go back to that word, because they, like Mon Mothma, look at Andor. She goes through all of that and then goes post Return of the Jedi. And then she's like, we got to fix whatever we had going before is what keeps making this. We don't want this anymore. But it's also why Leia's like, no, this is bullshit. And then Leia starts the resistance, and the First Order is able to rise up out there in the periphery of the galaxy. So they're, for all we know, what Thrawn sets up might be what helps the First Order actually get going early on. I don't know, though. So
like the Tea Party, but Tea for Thrawn. Right?
Yeah. It's I was cracking up. I wanted to hit Brett's super chat, so I didn't want to skip it. I hope I didn't lose it. Yeah. Scarif After Dark says, I want to create my Only Thrawns page. Only Thrawns fans page. Yeah, Only Thrawns.
Good one.
Only Thrawns, that is a pretty damn good one, I gotta say.
I do think we made that joke before, but I'll give it to him.
I don't remember, so I'm giving it to old Scarif and the
I make so many cringe jokes. I don't know. I'll give this one to Scarif. You get the cringe today. Who wins the cringe? Scarif wins the cringe. I feel like "Win the Cringe" is a future song, Jason.
Yeah.
I feel like it.
So I was on a just one last side note. I was playing Fortnite with old man Nick here, and when he comes on the show next time, he has to do it, but he does it in impersonation of Obi-Wan, going, I cannot do it. He's like my brother. And when he says it, it sounds like he's like from India or something. And he's like, that's what it sounds like. We're like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't sound like that. Shut up, Nick. You're dumb. And then Nick pulls out that quote he pulls it, he puts it into the microphone and plays it. And it does sound like
he's doing his worst Fisher Stevens Obi-Wan, right?
It's Short Circuit 2 all over again. Obi-Wan Kenobi, pretty much. All right. So let's get into the actual like news story here before I die. All right.
Isn't it crazy how Ali Sheedy and Steve Gutenberg had the same haircut in Short Circuit? Right? Just thought I'd bring it up. Go ahead.
Thrawn's Kintsugi. Is that how you say that? Do you know how to say that, Rob? I've never actually had to say it out loud, but Kintsugi Stormtroopers in Star Wars Ahsoka. So Thrawn's Kintsugi Stormtroopers.
I love a bowl of Kintsugi, Jason.
Kintsugi. All right. Don't be a Kint. The Star Wars sequel trilogy will have an aesthetic influence on the next wave of Dave Filoni Star Wars projects.
That's
there
true.
Will be spoilers in this article. You've been warned. So
okay.
Just in case anybody doesn't know. Just in case you're dumb.
Spoil me.
Just in case you're dumb.
I like to be spoiled.
I know you do, Dave. That sequel trilogy style. So last year I wrote about how the production of Star Wars The Mandalorian would incorporate a form of the Praetorian Guards from Star Wars The Last Jedi into the series. While that production has designs inspired by Episode 8, Star Wars Ahsoka will have designs inspired by Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, yeah.
In Episode 9, Kylo Ren visits an ape named Albrecht. I think that's how you say it. Guys, I don't fucking know how you say this bullshit, okay? I'm just doing my best.
No, he's an NFT, Jason.
Okay, Albrecht, the NFT, who is a blacksmith for the Sith. He monkeys around. See what I did? He monkeys around with their armor and fixes it up. And then also an old MSW scoop. which by the way, everybody gives to Reddit. It's not true. I had all that shit first. Kylo Ren needs his mask repaired after Snoke made him discard it. In lore, the mask is repaired using Sarasian iron. The red iron is used to weld the red cracks of his armor together, giving it that red, veiny aesthetic. Go ahead, Dave.
Mm.
All right. Calm down.
It's called the Rise of Skywalker for a reason, Jay. That's all I want to say.
That red, veiny aesthetic. Star Wars Ahsoka will riff on this aesthetic. Most of the Stormtroopers have been destroyed, their armor obliterated, much like Kylo's helmet. However, instead of the red veins running through the rebuilt armor, these troopers have what has been described as golden cracks or yellow veins running through their exterior. The visual used in episode 9 is based on Kintsugi, a Japanese art which translates to golden joinery. Broken valuables use gold or silver to mend and join the broken pieces of antique or art. I should have said of antiques or art. The process sees the breaks as part of the history of the object. So
also, I learned all about it playing Final Fantasy 14 for the last couple years, Jason.
I learned all about it from Wikipedia. I ain't gonna lie. Not even Wikipedia, actually Wikipedia.
Oh.
All right. So is it Sarasian? All right. So I somewhat doubt it will be Sarasian, as these troopers were reforged by the Night Sisters. In the Clone Wars, the Night Sisters of Dathomir had a green magic, but these are different Night Sisters from a new place, and perhaps their magic is golden instead of green to match the Kintsugi look. I asked it as a question. I don't know because there's no visual effects for them, when they're making the show. Whatever happened to these troopers, they had their armor cracked like glass. And then in an awesome showing of power, put back together like Humpty Dumpty. Did the Stormtroopers under those sets of armor die? Did the Night Sisters resurrect the Stormtroopers with rebuilt armor? We have seen Night Sisters resurrect an undead army to fight Count Dooku and General Grievous's forces. So I'm making an implication there, but it's a question. What will these Stormtroopers do? These troopers will be on the hunt serving Thrawn under the command of Balon, but led into battle by the red sabered user named Shin. They will be tracking.
Sleep with the Lord.
Here's kind of the sexy part. They will be tracking the reunited Ezra, Sabine, and Ahsoka. I love the visual of a new Force user. Red saber united with a battalion of reforged Stormtroopers with golden veins through the armor. Ahsoka, Sabine, and Ezra fleeing from them before being forced to fight. I think it could be visually stunning. Shin will take these Sarasian Stormtroopers with her as she hunts Ahsoka, Tano, Ezra, and Sabine. When the trio is finally reunited, they will face off against this new take on the Imperial Stormtrooper. The evil adversaries Ahsoka faces off against are going to look cool. Shin in her armor, and see right there, I'm saying too much, I can't say anymore, but Shin has her armor, with a battalion of Kintsugi Stormtroopers is going to look so rad. Seeing these Kintsugi Stormtroopers on the Chimera answering to a really tall Thrawn should be aesthetically pleasing. And then I say, hey, I want to hear your theories, so you can leave comments. You can become a channel member, as you guys are in the chat are, which I appreciate, and participate in the community. And channel members and Patreon supporters get access to the Making Star Wars Discord. And if you do join, you can't find where to get access to it, just hit me up and I will send it to you. And and we're on all the podcast formats now, so there's that too. So there's the story, and I'm sticking to it. That's the story. But yeah, they're pretty much Kylo Ren's armor, but golden. And the show's gonna have its own vibe, its own look, with the bad guys. We're gonna have this blue motherfucker, Thrawn. We're gonna have these Stormtroopers put this cracked golden armor. We're going to have like our new Sith apprentice, if you will. When I say Sith apprentice, I mean that in quotations. I don't know what she is. She might be like, I don't know, a Cliff. It's like, it's a new Sith. I don't know. I have no idea what they are, but
from
Balon. Yeah. Cliff. The Cliff Knights.
Well, if you remember, he was in House 2. He does adventure.
He's in Empire Strikes Back.
He's an adventurer. So,
but he's in Empire Strikes Back as well.
I know he's in Empire Strikes.
Yeah. About it.
Not as an adventure. It's just like some desk jockey.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he has a mustache, so I think he fucks. I mean, with that mustache, pretty. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it was Princess Leia's first boyfriend. But yeah. Anyways, yeah. So that's.
I mean, it's very Lori. You know, it's very Filoni. I what I do like is that when he does that stuff, it doesn't really become the focus of the show. It's just a thing. So it's like, you know, it's not like.
What I like about it, dude, is that like if something exists somewhere, then it's open game to be used in that universe. Like if that's what they did with Kylo's stuff, then you could do it somewhere else. Like I don't want things to be used to help, like Carbonite, right? I could go the rest of my fucking life and never see anything put in Carbonite again in my whole life. Okay. At the same time, I will concede if they do it there, they can do it here. You know what I mean? Like I don't like in Mandalorian season 1 when he puts the guys in Carbonite. I think that's kind of dumb. But at the same time, I'm like, well, why wouldn't he? If he heard about it, why wouldn't he? Right? Like word got around. Right. You can do that to people.
Yeah.
So it's like it becomes,
one person starts to do this, Jason, on their thumbnails on YouTube, but now fucking everyone's, you know.
Oh, what if whenever I have an idea, you like a light bulb?
Yeah. And now all of fucking YouTube. I mean, even news channels have these thumbs.
I fucking started that. Licking the light bulb. That was my idea. Okay. That was me.
No, Jason, that's Yahoo Serious. Like we saw Young Einstein.
Oh yeah.
The same summer as Ghostbusters 2. And yeah, like so sorry. You stole that.
As a young man, serious. I used to be able to do a Yahoo Serious hair. I used to be able to till
you put bubbles into beer.
Till God took my powers. God took my powers. But
my friends will go, "Is that real? Did all that really happen?" But yes, that's really how it all went down.
So Chillmonger touches on a really important scene in Ahsoka. Gideon and Thrawn get haircuts at the same villain barbershop. Actually, Crosshair from Bad Batch opens up a barbershop called Crosshair. Get it? Crosshair. And he opens up a second location, and you know what it's called, Rob? Hair to the Empire. And that's where they get their haircut. Everybody knows that. It's lore.
No, Jason. John wanted to call it the Boba Shop. That's going to be season 2, Book of Boba Shop, and he gonna cut your hair with respect. Know what I'm saying? With respect.
He just he just gives buzz cuts. He doesn't know.
Everyone just come in there. They get a back to treatment. They get a haircut.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Thrawn gets a back to fade.
I'm gonna write that down. Write
that down. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, like in this wait, which spelling error do I have right now? Which spelling error did I make this time? What's my current spelling error? I would blame it on the COVID, but you know, I'm probably just dumb. But anyways,
blame it on the AI. You just use Chat GP.
Kintsugi is it's Sarasian, this like ore in the lore. It's an ore from an asteroid that the Sith like monkey man uses to fix the shit up. And so is it called Sarasian? I have heard it as referred to as that in this show. However, I don't know if that's what they're actually going to go with. Every now and then you'll hear something like, for instance, the dudes we're going to see in the next Mandalorian thing are called Praetorians. Are they going to actually be called Praetorians when the lore takes over? I don't know. I can't say.
Every now and then at the barbershop, they like to bring up Rise of Skywalker. I thought it was fun. I'm like, you like the monkey that fixed the armor? And they're like, I don't remember what you're talking about.
He's the best part of the movie.
They're deleting parts of the film to remember. I'm like, that's clever. It's clever. All right.
Yeah, but I mean, a monkey man who fixes the armor is probably like my favorite part of that movie, honestly.
You know, if the montage was done to the DK rap, I'd go with it. You know?
In terms of like, without taking a detour into episode 9 critiques, I really, really do dislike the fact that Kylo goes with the mask back on.
Right.
I think it undoes the progression of where he's going and what he's becoming. And but at the same time, if you have a monkey do it, I can't get mad at you. Like that, JJ is really good with this shit. He's like, hey, if a monkey does it, you can't get mad. And I thought, JJ, you son of a bitch, you did it again.
I feel like the monkey was Chris Terrio though. Like that dude, he gets really weird. You ever hear him talk about like his writing process for like the Justice League stuff? And
but does he write at a zoo or something?
yeah, it's a guy who like. I'm not saying you have to be a fan of something to make something. I don't think that at all.
Oh, not at
but
all.
Like, I do think I don't know. I feel like when you're, how do I say this? There's a difference between like certain mashups make sense, like the BC Boys Ghostbuster mashup. Like you go, wow, that should have always been there. And then every now and then you get like, Huey Lewis and the Metallica mashup, and you're like, all right, it's novel, but I don't know if that's like actually riffing on, it doesn't really, it's like clever, but I don't know about that. So Terrio's more like in that second category, I'd say.
Baymax says, Happy New Year. Been swimming in the North Sea, fucking freezing. Balls went up inside it and talking like Jar Jar. Hey.
Like drinking piss out of a peach jar and then eating Jolly Ranchers. I don't know. I don't know if that's like the thing I was like, huh. All right. I mean, it's a take. It's a take.
Yeah. I hung out with Clancy Brown one night, and like I told him, I was like, you know what the coolest thing about you in the whole world is? It's not only that you're on Star Wars, but Queen wrote your theme song. And that's why Highlander 2 fucking sucks. It has no fucking Kurgan, and I think it plays I think it plays Hammer to Fall, and he says it's the kind of magic or something like that, and he fucking walks up. I am Christopher Lambert. I don't.
Well, it's a kind of magic's playing in a jukebox in that.
The jukebox,
yeah, it's playing in the jukebox. I would say though, man, look, Highlander 2 is pretty bad, but Highlander 3 or Mario Van Peebles, where he pretends to be Kurgan, is worse. At least Highlander 2 wasn't bringing out a villain to pretend to be the Kurgan, because we need a Kurgan. Let's get Mario Van Peebles.
Mario Van Peebles is like the nicest guy.
I know. And he should not be forced to pretend to be Clancy Brown. Like
that last Terminator movie, there's just this like really nice looking fucking dude. He's like, I'm the new Terminator that's gonna kill the new John Connor. And I was like, that guy looks just too nice,
Look, I haven't watched a Terminator film since Salvation. I'm out. Unless James Cameron's making it, I'm out.
The last one is the best one they've done beyond the first two. But
I hear you.
At the same, I mean, it's good, but it's not great. That's what I'm saying.
Well, then I'll get around to it.
But ultimately, not enough, not good enough. After all of the bad attempts at another one. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like
that's why I haven't watched
it. It was a lot. You will probably have a good time if you do watch it. It's kind of funny watching fucking John Connor get killed. You're like, yeah, John Connor, they fucking got you, dude. They fucking got you. That was like me with COVID after 3 years. Like fucking John Connor in my ass. But Baymax says, Nick, how is Bessie doing? Is he like Wrexham fan by any chance? I don't know what you fucking weirdos are talking about over there from the other part of the world. But I will say I saw a really good movie called fucking COVID, damn you. I lost it. After Sun. Man, it's fucking depressing, dude. But definitely worth watching. I highly recommend After Sun. I think it's my favorite movie of 2022, and it's for grown-ups. It's not dumb. It's about like it's like a father and his daughter, and they're on vacation, and you very quickly learn something happened because she's like reminiscing about this vacation, so something weird's gonna happen, and throughout it. There's like all these like horror film conventions that happen throughout it, but it's really good. It's not a horror film though. It's really good though. Anyways, yeah. So what's going on with the chat here? Wait, what do you say? Robert Sinclair says Jason was all over the Kintsugi Kylo Ren helmet story during episode 9. I remember it well. Yeah, I had like that was one of the funnier stories. That one's up there for when someone's like, "Listen, Jason, I'm going to tell you something, but you can't say anything until you get more sources on it." Like, okay, well,
Kintsugi.
Yeah, a fucking monkey is fucking makes Kylo Ren's armor again, dude. And I'm like, and I'm like, are you just trying to humiliate me? Like I wouldn't run that.
He's like, you like Lancelot Link? You like it?
Yeah.
You like it when they get monkeys to move their lips and pretend to be James Bond? Well, we got something for you.
But this is why, like this story today, I didn't run the story until I had like multiple sources on it. You know what I mean? Saying multiple sources saying the same exact thing. And what I put in the article were the commonalities of what these people were saying. There's more scenes with these stormtroopers than what I talk about. But you know, I'm not going to drop all of that in because they link to other stories I'm working on. And so like I'm just making this up. If you know, remember that movie Dunstan Checks In? So if we have that monkey from Dunstan Checks In, and and he's building like the armor. If I go talk about that, then people can go fake more scenes and make up.
When that came out,
so
I told my conservative friends there's a chance that Joey could become president of the United States. I mean, the key is to act with a monkey, and then they make you governor, and then they make you president. That's how it works. So he's check one.
You should have told me that.
When Matt LeBlanc runs for governor of California in a few years, I'm just letting you know.
Marty says Rob is bang on regarding Predator 2. Remember when we'd search through these sequels, like we were looking for diamonds in a pile of shattered glass rather than having huge meltdown? Yeah.
And that's like, I would say Rise of Skywalker, had it come out when I was a kid, I would be like, yeah, dude, you know, like I'd be far less critical of it. I totally would admit that. I know, like, but I would have said, and I'm pretty certain because I consistently live in the 90s when I'm working on a lot of 90s shit the past 10 years, so it's weird. I'm like, all right, where was I? What was my... I would have said it just did not feel like the end of 3 films. I'm certain I would have, like Predator 2 felt like it was going to that Aliens Predator bit, you know? Then I guess eventually they did that, but not, it's like 10 years later.
Yeah.
But Rise of Skywalker, would have probably been, but it didn't have, like, the cool thing about Predator 2, as weird a fucking movie as that is it did have a totally different setting, right? It didn't try to just recreate the first film in a jungle. Then was it Gary Busey as one of those batshit fucking military, like, police dudes ever, and he gets cut in half. Remember the cut in half bit where the blood falls down in slow motion? Like, that shot alone. And it has the spear. They gave the Predator the spear in that disc, the battering. You got like a battering. So they added some cool weapons, which, you know, I mean, it's better than Die Hard 2, I would say, without a doubt.
Like the thing about for me is I look at it like I wanted episode 9 to be this, but this is what it is. And then I look at like what the creative, like if I agree or disagree, what the creative decisions were, and like where they try to look at where they were coming from, and where they were coming from is so unbelievably stupid that I can't get, then I just fucking write it off and just hate it forever. Like I tried to like Willow. I tried to go with it. I tried to like, there is some good stuff to it, and I could see that. But I'm like, you know, at the end of the day, I'm never going to be able to watch a Willow series with people with screen printed t-shirt wearing jeans and fucking rock music playing that my dad listened to. That's fucking so misguided. It's so off base. It will never ever work for me. But then for instance, you and I agree with you about Solo. I think that the Kessel run, fucking whatever about that, what they made that Kessel run. Ooh,
it's just tonally misguided as a summer film, as a Han Solo movie. It's just tonally, it's just the idea of it is like, this is a different thing.
Right. But I'm able to go and say my idea for it was better. That's just that. And then I'm able to appreciate the movie for what it is.
Right. Like if that idea of like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea Kessel Run bit, if that was what the Kessel Run looked like now, like in Boba Fett, because like if Book of Boba Fett went back to that, and that's a result of some shenanigans Han Solo did 30 years before, that's funny. You know what I mean? You could do the fun Han Solo, here's how you fucking wreck the Kessel, then unleash a giant monster. That haunts it to this day. Would be hilarious. You know, like Han Solo's still fucking with Boba Fett somehow, you know, like in the future, even though he's gone or not around or busy. So like, but just tonally, it's all over the fucking place. I would say the thing about, if I remember right, Predator 2 came out around the same time as I discovered Batman versus Predator, the comic. And the Batman versus Predator comic is way better, Jason, than it had any right to. Like, it was like, so
was
like,
that the Dark Horse ones?
Yeah.
Those were, I remember.
Andy Kubert drew it. Yeah. And
I didn't own them, but kids at school had them, and I read them at school. I remember that.
Yeah, my buddy, he was the one who'd always get everything. This guy, Mike Hightower, he could draw. He was the best artist in school, but he was also like my friend. And his dad got him all the comics, and he brought that shit down. He's like, check this out. I was like, whoa. And then I read it. I'm like, this is actually really good.
Did he become a professional in art?
No.
No,
I'm the only
that's in the school. So what? Didn't matter. Peaked early, Mr. Hightower.
But I cite Mike Hightower as an early influence on my art. So,
okay,
so when people go, you suck, I might blame it on Mike Hightower. Like, you know, he influenced me. But yeah, so
I'm sure Mike Hightower's a great guy, and he followed
his
as he wanted.
He was that kid who could skate and draw, Jason. You know what I mean?
So he probably had some cool skateboards then, huh? He's probably drawing some like cool shit.
Yeah, we had the thin wheels. When that was like,
with like big titties and fucking bazookas and katanas and shit.
I showed him the skateboard my mom got me for Christmas from Toys R Us with these big fat wheels. He's like, you can't be riding that around town. Like, first off, I'm not riding any skateboard out my fucking door. This is on. I got the worst balance. But yeah. No.
Yeah, as a true loves the Tross. Albert Tross. Where is Albert? Albert's not here today. Peter Griffin says, for Santa's extra credit, I said Ohio State will miss a game-winning field goal. Too soon? I don't know anything about football, so if you say so. Rosie says, yeah, we don't know anything. We don't know where we're at.
All I hear is wah, 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 wah. I don't know.
Rosie Day says, damn, the bad guys sound like they're going to look very cool. I hope the good guys get a new cool look too, Ezra purple lightsaber. Yeah, I don't know about what color. I don't know for certain what color Ezra's lightsaber color is in this, you know. I just know that we got that red one. Taupe.
It's a very soothing lightsaber.
So, wow, I like your lightsaber. And he's all, it's taupe. Okay, Ezra, fuck, dude. Ezra kind of became a big dick out here. Started going to Bath and Body Works all the time, being real particular about swaths of color.
A big Dathomir energy out there, and Dathomir.
Terminator Fat was awesome.
Fate,
Dark Fate. Yeah, I liked it. I actually I thought it was, I mean, going in the right direction. Like, the idea is if John Connor saves himself, and this thing's still going to happen because the thing, so somebody else becomes John Connor. I mean, it makes sense. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, if Cameron ain't doing, like, the thing is, he's you know, he had to sell that script to get the movie made, right? So like, he didn't own it, and it was like a random fluke godsend that they even wanted him back to do the sequel, because they didn't have to. They could have hired anybody, but they got him. And you know, it's just I saw Rise of the Machines, I saw Salvation. Like, I like Linda Hamilton. I thought she looked great in the trailers. But if James Cameron ain't doing it, or if it doesn't have like, it maybe should have more of a guerrilla feel, like a less budget, you know, more of a Terminator 1 smaller thing, you know, like but it's just another $100 million film. That I'm like, well, then just, I don't know, like, wait till you're done with Avatars and make it when you're 80. Cause I don't think Cameron's going to lose his edge when he's one of those guys who's blowing shit up.
my like armchair on that last one is, it was fucking pretty cool when they killed John Connor, right? But at the same time, it sucks that they killed John Connor, because you're like, oh shit, it's John Connor from Terminator 2, and then he's dead. You're like, oh shit. But I think they should have had it where John Connor knows what they did, and then knows that this other kid is the new John Connor now. that it's not him,
Well-
that this thing's still going to happen, and then he got out, but he's still in because he has a responsibility towards the future, you know, and the war.
My feeling about the Terminator 3 after Rise of the Machines, right? Because I didn't really think about whatever they do until I saw that movie, and I'm like, this fucking film was, you know, I was like, okay, Terminator 2, we see John Connor, the Resistance, send the Terminator back, right? But like, even if that dude's successful, which he was, right, and they save their future, they don't save that future. It's not like it's all of a sudden John Connor of that future, the dark future, right?
Yeah.
Was gonna like look around and everything gets better. Like, they're still fucked. They still have to fight for their, you know, to the bitter end. So I was like, all right, so just do the opening scene where you see them send that back, and then they're like, what now? And he's like, I don't know. I only know this part. You know what I mean? Like, we got to survive. That's it. Yeah, it's not going to get better. Like, and so then, like, call it dark future. So yeah, they did save an alternate timeline where that future got, but these people still have to live in this fucking thing. And what do? You know, like, they made it better for everyone else, but that doesn't, it's like when, you know, you make the world a better place, but it's kind of not going to help everyone, you know, it's going to help other people. I don't know. Like, there's something there.
That's what I like about the book and mostly the new show version of Kindred, is you have a black woman who's doing very well for herself, more or less, today, who's time traveling back, and she could help people enslaved on the Underground Railroad and her white boyfriend. Or they can just go back to the present, act like it didn't happen. And like, well, what do you do like in that kind of thing? Because that shit's still like in this other dimension. It's still a thing, you know? And that's a fun place to take time travel stories. And one last thing about time travel: the world between worlds is not time travel. Stop sending me your stupid theories, because it's not what it is. It's like a mirror where you could see alternate visions of what could happen or could have happened. You know, old friends long gone, that kind of stuff. So yeah, but people think that, like, you know, they're gonna make this alternate Star Wars. Oh, they're gonna leapfrog the sequel trilogy, and then here I am telling you about like two things where they're like literally taking sequel trilogy stuff to put into the new shows. But I will say, a mutual friend of ours who I do trust did say that Filoni was a little pretty critical of the sequel trilogy. Actually, that part is true, but the whole hates it thing, that's not true. Not exactly.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Well, it's Hollywood, so anything's possible. But like a guy who works at a company, not like a director that you hired on or someone, right? Like, remember when you bring people on board for projects, they're partnerships. They're not like an employee. I know people go, "You hired an employee." Nah, it's not the same thing. But Filoni's an employee. He has a health plan and he's got all that shit. He's got an HR department.
Stupid hat. Yeah, all that stuff.
So employees can't run around going, "This shit was bullshit." It's just not, especially when you're up at the upper levels. Like, you can be critical, like, hey, you know, here's some things we could have done, blah, 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 you know, and I'd missed you know, but always with but we can use this here to lift this and to do that. Cause it in a world of relationships, as a lot of these projects are, to be the guy bad mouth and everything just sets up people talk in town, and you're gonna be like, that guy just shits on everything you do after the fact. Why fucking work for him? You know?
Who's the guy from ILM? I'm drawing a blank on the name right now, who came up with the Rogue One story.
With Greg Whitta?
No, Greg Whitta.
John Knoll.
John Knoll. Yeah, John. Look at John Knoll in the beginning documentary, where he's showing his reservations for not only some of the creative ideas, but the logistics. And for the record, a lot of you guys get the logistics and the creative confused in that documentary.
Right.
That is true. But look at how he goes about it. That's probably about as fucking out there as you can go in that.
You're talking about, you kind of shorthand that in the episode 1 documentary when Lucas is showing how many visual effects are going to be when he puts the storyboards. He's literally got a board with storyboards, and he's with the highlighter marking it. Yeah, that's digital. No, that's fake. That's digital. And just watch John Knoll go.
Yeah. Also a little performative, because in reality they were telling George probably what's going to be digital. George isn't out there fucking. Yeah,
but then he does it, you know, and he's like, you know,
what are we gonna do, you know?
And you're like, fuck, the reality sets in. You got to do that work.
So two things. There was an article with John Kasdan, where he talks about how Metallica was always a part of that scene, and I was like, God damn it, Kasdan, you fucking shat the bed. But also, James Washington says Willow episode 6 was actually really good. It felt like an old 80s movie, with the rest of it still bad though. Yeah, that's the stuff. Like I am in no way saying that there's not like good things in it. And Christian Slater's character is fucking great. Then he's just dead. I mean, you don't see him die. So you can say, like, you see all these like trolls like go over him, and you're like, oh yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know, man. But it's broken, you know. For me, it's broken, and it doesn't sound like it. Willow always had like kind of an uphill battle, and it's kind of funny because if you ask me, the idea of doing fantasy that's not like a red wedding every fucking time, no one's getting Ard, and stuff like that, where you're just like, this is a fucking Star Wars level fantasy. There's a big place for that. But it doesn't mean that because you're not doing fucking Lord of the Rings, because you're not doing House of Dragons, it doesn't, because you're not doing it, doesn't mean you have to go completely the other way and it's all a fucking laugh either. And it wouldn't be funny if a brownie wore a rock and roll t-shirt and their village or their house was just in General Kale's village, like all of this convenient, stupid diatribe. It's just shit. They fucked it up. They fucking dropped the ball.
I would say he's, John Kasdan's definitely getting his flavor of whatever creatively into the things he works on. I've just not been interested in it. Not the worst thing in the world. There's far worse shit to watch. Like, I mean, let's be honest. Morbius, not the Venom films. That's not whatever.
Exactly.
But this is just like how do I say this? It's like, you gotta make it more for than just, I guess you make it for yourself, but like, oh man, dude, I always go like, when I'm working on something, man, it's like, this is what I want to do. I'm gonna set you guys up on it, but I always try to filter it through, and it's hard to do the first time someone looks at something. And I learned this doing t-shirts, because like, there's no advertisements for t-shirts, like like a sale, but there isn't like an ad campaign. Go to the shirt, get a t-shirt. Like the t-shirt sale is like, it's like the most non-committal purchase. It's an upsell, but it's not handing. It's like a candy bar. It's not at the fucking cash register. You got to walk by and go, oh, like I'll go get that. And so you have to like think about, okay, when someone comes in and they're like, oh, another Deadpool shirt. How many fucking Deadpool shirts do I need? And then you have to get them on something cool or irreverent or whatever it is. And the Willow thing feels like we said, like he was in his room listening to Metallica, watching Willow, and then he put them all together. And it's like, yeah, but that no one else had that experience but you. So I don't know if like it's been so, I don't know, man. Like if they Top Gun Maverick didn't recreate Top Gun, but it made damn certain that like whoever went in there got that Top Gun vibe, right? Like they didn't walk out with like a totally different fucking film. So.
Yeah, that's the thing is like when you see even Empire and Jedi, you can see how Empire and Jedi are different films from A New Hope. You can see where, but it was still a dimension of that world very clearly. And there was never a time when you hear James Horner's music in the original Willow and you think Crimson and Clover. You just don't, that doesn't happen. That does not make sense. And it does not sit with the original. Not the other thing is like, does this sit beside the original thing in harmony? No, it like literally sits in fucking disharmony, and it's not good. A lot of the defenders are like, hey, this is fantasy, so you can't say. And it's like, no, you're right. You can't say what it could like. Could there be sciencey stuff in it? Sure, I would be okay with that. Could there have been a robot like in like a Final Fantasy game or something? I guess, yeah, you could do that. I don't think you should, but you could. But at the same time, to act like it doesn't break the conventions of the genre as defined by the original film is a complete fucking farce. That's a lie. You are wrong. You are completely wrong with that one. So, but doesn't mean that you have to dislike the show. I could see liking the show and thinking it's a bad sequel to Willow at the same time, just thinking it's two different things. I mean, I tried that, it just didn't work for me. So that's it. I won't talk about it anymore.
Which is the real shame of it. No, I always tell people the real shame isn't that something's good or bad. It's when it's irrelevant. When you make something that people go, oh yeah, that came out. Like even if it's bad, you're like, this fucking thing is so bad. At least people are like looking at it. When people are like, oh yeah, then it's just like, ooh, as a creative, that's a tough place to be in, because you can't get any feedback loop. You know, there's always a chance something really dumb can make a lot of money, right, Jason?
All the time.
But
all the time.
Right. But in this case,
Kanye West has made more money than all of us put together many times over, and he's very dumb. Don says, thank you. It's never been time travel. It's parallel world, mirror world. Yeah, I mean, when you really look at what the world between worlds is it's essentially it's a tangible way of giving us visions without it just being like, now I'm having a vision, you know, and you see it, like, kind of thing. And it's sort of like that. But also, and for the record, never really been a big fan of the world between worlds as it was introduced, though. I don't hate it, but I understand what it is and what it isn't. Chill says, we can say what world between worlds is not, more than we can say what it is. That's fair. That is fair, Mr. Monger. Or is it Miss Monger? I don't know, but it's Chill either way. So
we're almost to an hour here, Jason. Do we want to bring up, you think it's true what Bespin says about Lindelof?
Oh yeah, he wants us to. Oh yeah, there was that other story. Is Bespin in here today?
No.
Okay, yeah, I'll bring up the Bespin article. We could talk about it. Bespin covered this, and like for the record, I'm not like I'm not throwing any shade here when I say this, but like basically what this story in a lot of ways is sort of like not like really a lot to it, but it does seem like the originator of this stuff is friends with the person who leaked the original stuff, that was all true. So I think it's worth looking at. I'm going to bring up Bespin's article because I know where that one is. All right, so look right here. We got Linda Lost. So in the spring of last year, it was reported by Jeff Snyder, the Ian Snyder, that via the Inkler, that the writer behind critically acclaimed television series The Leftovers and The Watchmen, as well as films including Prometheus and Tomorrowland, man, he loves dropping in those names. Too many names today for me, Bespin. I'm going to skip the names today. Was working. Okay, so Lindelof was working on a Star Wars film. Since then, development of the film has seemingly progressed swiftly and smoothly. Lindelof is writing the film alongside Justin Britt Gibson, who is best known for writing episodes of the series Badlands and Counterpart, and will be directed by Miss Marvel's Shermeen Obaid Chinoy. In addition to Obaid Chinoy and Britt Gibson, two people with hyphenated names being on board, Lindelof also has a writer's room for the project, which includes Patrick Somerville, a bunch of people. And Dave Filoni was even there. He's like, hey, I'll take my hat. Who likes my hat? The reporter who first broke that Lindelof was working on a Star Wars film has given updates in the months following, reporting that the film will take the December 2025 release date, which has previously held by Taika Waititi's Star Wars film, and that Lindelof's project will film sometime this year. Now, World of Real has followed up with Snyder's report, and on Snyder's show, he cites them as being homies, I think. So that's worth noting. And now exclusively reporting that Damon Lindelof's Star Wars movie will start shooting in April of this year. And April's like a little bit earlier than what I had heard. I had heard it was going to be like summer, but at the same time, I'm not saying it's wrong or anything like that. I'm saying like that's good news. That means that they're ready to go. They're way closer to being ready to go. World of Real has no additional details on the project, such as where it will be filming. The belief is Pinewood Studios, London, or Shinfield Studios, Berkshire. Nope, no Berkshire. We're losing the Berkshire. Shinfield, just Shinfield. Yeah, I think it's going to be at Pinewood. But what's interesting is that in the summer of last year, the Hollywood Reporter claimed that Taika Waititi's film was slated to begin filming around the same time this year, and that his film was further along than what he had led fans to believe, downplaying how far in development the project was. I cannot confirm at this time what the project is, but a number of weeks I've been hearing a Star Wars project has been prepped at Pinewood Studios, London, in addition to filming currently being underway at the studio for the second season of Andor and some scenes for Acolyte, which is primarily filming at Shinfield. What about the Berkshire? What, she left off the Berkshire on that one. What a fucking poser, dude. What a fucking poser. Anyways, so yeah, Bespin's been hearing that that there's going to be some stuff going down at Pinewood. I believe him. In the reports from Snyder, a world of real are to be believed. If the reports from Snyder, which they are to be believed, then the next film in the Star Wars franchise will come from Damon Lindelof, and that Waititi's film is now seemingly on the back burner. Got back burnered. Lucasfilm and Disney have 2 dates marked for Star Wars films, December 19th, 2025 and December 17th, 2027. In addition to Lindelof and Waititi, Patty Jenkins, Brian Johnson, and Kevin Feige all have Star Wars film projects announced to be in some form of development. Past reports from the trades have claimed that Lindelof's film, set post-sequel trilogy, is being written as a standalone piece, but if successful, sequels will be developed. And that's the other thing. That writer's room is about that. You don't need a writer's room to write a film. That writer's room is about all of these opportunities and making them line up for the next films. So whilst the initial 2027 was likely earmarked for one of those projects from the filmmakers listed, that date could eventually be housed by a sequel to Lindelof's upcoming flick. So there we have it right there. There we have it. Lindelof stuff is a thing. And Waititi was supposed to turn in his script in December. They were supposed to pretty much accept what he had or green lighted at that point. So the question I have when I hear all of this is, what's the story there? Like, that's what I want to know. Whenever Rob goes on to the Insnyder show and gives him a super chat, Rob needs to super chat him and say, hey, so what happened to Taika's film? Is Taika's film probably dead forever? Is it a bad situation or a good situation? That kind of stuff. Because Snyder, the Insnyder, he made it sound like he knew what was going on there and he couldn't say anything. And then we have his buddy at World of Real telling the rest of the story, which is just the caveat, really, that it's going to start filming in April. One thing I would say about that, and I could be wrong, but I heard it would be filming in the summer. What if the actual sets are going to go up in April? April and May you build sets, and then in June you start shooting.
That seems more likely.
I think that's what's actually going on there.
Yeah.
But that's just my analysis and based off of what I had heard quite a while ago now, months ago now at this point. So that's what I think is going on there. That's my analysis. I wouldn't even call it a contribution to the story, but that's my take. So, and thank you, James, for the super chat. Nanu, buddy. Nanu. But yeah. So anyways, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I do think it's going to be a new series of films. I do think that writer's room is more about those film opportunities, and I think the interesting thing could be that the Dave Filoni being a part of that might be because Dave Filoni might get a film one day. That's something to consider. I don't think people should start reading We Got Discovered articles about it and taking them seriously, but I do think that could be the implication. He is part of the Lucasfilm story group, which is notable. That's the thing. And this quote writer's room, I think, is essentially and when I say the Lucasfilm story group, I mean as created for creatives, not as in you can't put that in your book because that's Sarasian still. Not that. That's like a different thing. It's different. So, Green Friend, Jason, is Skeleton Crew done filming yet? You heard anything on that? Oh yeah, I have. Just read into that what you want. Oh, it could have been a COVID fever dream, but it doesn't look good. Star Wars makes says Jude Law should play a majestic hut. For the record, I do think Skeleton Crew will come out. I'm not saying that, just for the record. I just don't know when. Skeleton Crew, Jude Law should play a majestic hut. Man, we were talking about that yesterday. We were like talking about, me and Bespin were like, man, it's gonna be cool when these like golden stormtroopers show up in Fortnite. Yeah, like who do you think they'll make? And then we're talking about like the Ahsoka thing. Like would they put Thrawn in Fortnite? I don't know, man. Probably not, but that'd be cool. And then we're like talking about Skeleton Crew. Like, what are they gonna do? Put Jude Law on the little elephant kid as a back bling? like right now, I'm like, we don't really have anything from Skeleton Crew, but they also didn't do anything from Andor for Fortnite. But I think all of I think Mandalorian and Ahsoka series will probably take care of the Fortnite stuff, and that kind of jazz, like those kind of opportunities. So, but there's stuff going on over there. Let's just say there's stuff going on. That's all I can say. But yeah, and I'm looking forward to it though. I always say, like, the thing I always want to reiterate is that the people that work on the Star Wars projects are fucking, generally speaking, world class. They're usually not like the worst of the worst. They're usually like really, really good people that are sometimes taking even like a hit to work on Star Wars for their CV, and some of them love it, some of them don't. But they know what the work is. It's not like they're bad because the production has issues. It's not like they do bad work because there might be an asshole or two involved. You know what I mean? And that's what's important to remember, that these people are suffering to bring us this really, really good work. And, and if you want to be a jerk and you're like, well, I didn't like a shot in Kenobi. Imagine if it wasn't the best people in the world making it. Imagine what that shot you don't think Kenobi would have looked like.
Oh, we can see that. We can see that. I think it's there. It's a mean clip, but I do enjoy it. Someone put out the Kenobi chase sequences to Andor, and it's like the TIE fighters blowing with all the ricochets in Andor, and then it cuts to like just the side view of the Star Destroyer. I'm like, look, that is 100% director's problem. That's what a director's supposed.
That's how it was directed.
Yeah. That's how it was. Yeah. So like you got, that's a director's problem. Sorry, Deborah Chow, but that director looks at that and goes, come on, guys. Like, like we're not doing this. But they did it.
Yeah. Yesterday the
almost looked like Spaceballs, right? Like it almost like a Spaceball shot. Like it's like okay, that's a take.
That's I think actually too. I don't think Joby Harold did a bad job of writing that script, but I do think that Joby Harold likely wrote they're being chased, and this is what it was. And I don't think he took into account what that means in Star Wars when you do it. Because in Star Wars, when you do a chase, you are implying a sequence. And when you show it as being anything less, like when you do it in Empire Strikes Back, when the Falcon has a sequence with some breathtaking, it's like going fucking up and turning over like asteroids and shit. You're like, whoa. And then it does have those same shots. Like I could do that. I could pull the shots from Empire where it's like the same shots, but it's after we have those operatic moments with John Williams music swelling, and then that you have that, and it's okay. But at the same time, I don't think I think that was a learning experience for everybody, for the world, because we all grew up with this stuff just always existing for the most part. Most of us, weren't 46 when Empire came out.
I'm gonna say though, Jason, after the sequel trilogy for this crew, you've learned enough. You got 2 seasons of Boba Fett, of Mando. You've learned. Like, I need the people who get the learning to be in charge.
Yeah.
I want the people who took away from the learning more than the folks like, hey man, working it out.
Well,
like I don't know.
The films don't have any of that problem. Generally speaking, it's the TV shows that are like, we actually can't do a sequence where they're being chased by this. We don't have that, but that in our budget, we don't have the means to do that on this one.
Cut
And
to
it's not
2D
the point.
animation. Like they should go to the holiday special route. Just cut to
what they really should have done was they should have just been jumping from light speed out of light speed and then being caught and then jumping again. Like they should have just pulled that trick. That old Battlestar Galactica trick.
Well,
you know,
there was a fan film short back in like 1999 called Bounty Trail. All right. I'm taking myself back here. But
Bounty Trail.
And it was a Boba Fett thing that basically goes down to a planet to find like a Jedi, you know, whatever. But they went the creep show route where all the stuff that would require the visual effects, chase sequences and landings, they went like with the comic book page, like where it went to the drawn panel to panel, you know, like and it did it fairly. Like, look, it's 1999, but they did it fairly well. Like they did it better than I think modern shows would do now. Like they actually drew some real shit and it looked pretty good. Like it wasn't janky. Like there was some effort being put into that. So I'm not saying that would work in big budget, you know, Star Wars TV, but like this is the thing, man. If you're gonna do low budget Star Wars, don't like just do it in animation or something, you know, like just don't do it because fans aren't expecting low budget Star Wars. You know, they're just not, especially when you go, hey, here's this character you loved 30 years ago coming back, one more shot, and we're going to do you know what I mean? And we're doing it on a budget because we're proud of ourselves. This is like not the time for the budget. Like cancel a Pinocchio, get rid of one of those Nat Geo fucking things where some Marvel actor runs around with them around the globe.
Oh, but what if it was Will Smith?
You know, he's done enough, don't you think?
Okay. You know what?
He's done enough.
Sometimes parents do understand, and us parents think you've done enough, Will Smith.
Yeah, I was good after Hancock. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
We're fine. So
I was good.
I wanted him as Superman, but I got that. So okay, you know, there we go.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm like, season 1 through 3 of Fresh Prince, and I think it's time. Anyways, James says, I'm guessing we'll get the Ahsoka trailer at Star Wars Celebration 2023 in London at a guess. I think that's a good guess. I would say that's a good guess. Unlike Miggs, but it's very accurate, more accurate than mine recently. As the truth says, a game site had an article entitled "Can Jedi Survivor Survive Star Wars Fatigue?" Andor Mando $20 Fortnite skins on a mobile game is enough for some people. Yeah, the whole Star Wars fatigue thing is not really usually handled very, very smartly. There's like, it depends on the medium in which it's released. Like, you have Star Wars fatigue for the action figures? You could overfish that market. Films, you could put out too many films, you could put out too many shows, but these things aren't all the same thing, and they're not even always the same. I know people who don't really care about the films, never really have, but love the action figures. Like we're a weird bunch, and it's more complicated.
You're talking about
Santa loves it all. Santa loves it all.
Oh, Meg, so you know that's why we don't like insert Star Wars movie. Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
and Ain't It Cool News was like an interesting example of some people who wrote for them that were like moving on to becoming like more standard film critics. And
Drew McWeeny.
Yeah, and I like Drew, and I like his stuff, but there comes a point where you know what, like I'm not about this anymore necessarily. I think he found it though. I think he ended up kind of re-embracing it with his children later on. If that's from memory, I could be wrong.
Yeah, his first step towards doing that was Superman. So like Drew McWeeny back in like 2001-ish, whatever, 2001, he got a hold of the wrote like a scriptment for a Superman movie called Man of Steel, and where at the end it's revealed Lex Luthor's also an alien, right? And so Drew reviews the scriptment. Fucking internet rages, right? So the first times I've seen the internet rage at something they've never seen yet. Like I'd seen the rage at the Phantom Menace, but that's after they'd seen it, right? No one was raging before it came out, right? So, anyways, long story short, that movie goes through screen rewrites, and then the director McG, who's going to direct it, didn't want to fly. So movie's canceled.
Yeah.
It's gonna star Henry Cavill of all fucking things. Weirdly enough.
Yeah.
But when Superman Returns comes out, right, in 2006, he goes, I wish I never complained about that J.J. Abrams script, because this is like he felt like that was them reacting to the fan reaction. So they made this most safest, we're gonna get the Richard Donner theme back and we're gonna make it so it's sort of like a continuation, but it isn't. It's just one of those weak sauce films where he was just like, I wish I never said anything and never gotten involved.
Right.
And I'm like, bravo, dude. Like, who else? I'd never seen that at a point where someone was like, man, I should have just shut up. Like, let them make what they were going to make and then review that, because the watching a studio react to the internet is what the Rise of Skywalker is for me. It's the Superman Returns, like, oh, great, we're just going to try to address every fan gripe on the internet versus just make the thing you're going to make, man. Like, this is pointless. Or make a better version of what you're going to, whatever. But like trying to check off a list. Look, we got a dark ray and we got Kylo with his mask back on. So masks are back on and Palpatine's back. Everyone loves Palpatine. It's like that is not, that ain't, we knew it. We got a new bad guy. We got Palpatine, but he's like falling apart. Like his dick is falling off. Like Dan Aykroyd from Nothing But Trouble, but like whatever.
Meg says, judge me by my size, do you? Yoda to Yaddle, 90 BBY. Probably. I mean, obviously, Grogu didn't get here. How else do you think Grogu got here? That's the. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up doing something weird, like fucking Yaddle laid an egg and fucking Yoda sat on it, and then that was. So that way they didn't fuck.
Fox News says Yaddle came here on a caravan of courage. Like he got he's one of those.
Gotta protect those borders, man. Gotta protect those borders.
Space borders.
Space borders.
Is
that like a bookstore? Space borders?
Fair, well, they're doing all right. But to be fair, the last Starfighter did have the Frontier, which was a giant spaceport. I mean, it went right through it like any other wall.
It's cool.
It's hilarious. They just went through it.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's right. They turned it off and then went through the Frontier. My bad. There was a space wall in the last Starfighter. It's hilarious. Like how do you construct a space wall?
Meg, infinite. Not mine the child is, the baby you will keep. Bye. All right, we did it. I'm gonna go take a nap. I don't feel that great now. I'm coming back though. I'm coming back. I tried to do this yesterday. Didn't get anywhere, but today we got here. We got somewhere. Thanks to everybody for supporting the channel. Hope everybody had a good holiday year. Wear those masks. Be careful. It's coming. And just for the record, when I was trying to figure out what the lineage is of like how I got it and where I got it from and stuff like that. As I was like doing like all the math, there was like so many weird places it could have came from for me this time.
What have you been doing?
like my daughter's friend had it, like this other person, like who I know, like, you know what I mean? All these people around me.
The kids got it.
Family members basically. And stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. People had it. So it was just like, So but it's gonna get a little bit hairier too. There's a better variant that's coming out. When I say better, I mean worse for us. So it's gonna be a good time. So be safe, you idiots, because it's
I saw Avatar 3 times masked up, so I'm good. Like I did my part.
I saw it a second time before I got sick, and I didn't get to see it in 3D. I saw it like regular, and boy, I gotta say, I like Avatar in 3D. I do not like Avatar not in 3D. That's just me. Like
it's designed for 3D though.
Yeah, I know exactly. I don't when it's not in 3D, it loses everything for me. Yeah. And when it's in 3D, I'm a fan. So hopefully they bring back 3D or do an update so I can watch my old Blu-ray.
Quickly, they don't have to not bring it back, at least in the theaters, because the one thing Cameron and them did that was pretty smart back when the 3D thing was taken off was he lobbied like Dolby and all these cats that make the projectors to make them so that any projection now can do 3D or high frame rate, like any theater can. Every one of their systems can do that. They don't need some special fucking all the screens have the fucking silver bullshit, so like they can all just turn on a fucking theater if they need to. It's not Not a big deal.
Star Wars Make says, get well soon, Jason. Remember that no matter what they say, you the boss, who the boss, you the boss. And remember, Yoda Man. Yoda Man was the ad campaign. That was real. That happened.
Yeah,
then,
I know, Jason. Let's not remind me.
Before I forget, because it will eat me up. All these articles are saying like Lucasfilm did this brave thing with Willow by incorporating rock music, bringing music into it. You guys see fucking Strange Magic? They did it before and it didn't work then. Just saying. I had to say that. Now I said it. I'm okay now. Don says the fatigue is work with Omni C. I haven't had bad respiratory, but headache and fatigue is what's getting me. What's getting me this with this shit. So yeah, everybody be cool though. And Nick, I'll see you on Fortnite in a bit if you get on. Let me know. Nick says, Rob, I love you. Jason says, Jason, I love you. True, I love you. Everyone, I love you. What about? Okay, yeah, you did say you love Rob, and I was gonna say, Don said the problem is I love everything, and then I was gonna say, hey, look, that means somebody loves you, Rob. Or I have a problem. I like everything. So somebody likes
friends
you.
like these.
Don
friends
likes
like
you.
these.
Yeah. Don likes you.
Thanks.
So, all right, everyone. Well, hopefully we'll see everybody tomorrow. The plan is to see you tomorrow. Okay. All right. Bye, everybody. Bye, Rob. Just say bye, Rob.
Bye, Rob.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go. It's not about spaceships.